All right, welcome back, everybody. So my name's Andrew Young. I head up the product management organization here at WatchGuard, and I get the exciting pleasure of taking you through some of the exciting opportunities and investments that we're making here at WatchGuard. So you've heard this a couple of times today, right? But I just want to emphasize it from a product perspective. You are our partners, all right? You are our customers. We build everything with you in mind, right? You drive our roadmaps. It's conversations that happen at these kickoffs. It's conversations that we have with you throughout the year that define where we invest in our product lines. And hopefully you're seeing that reflected in what we're building, and I'll go through some of that today. So I want to start out with kind of looking at how you, our partner community, look to WatchGuard, right, as the vendor, and how we engage with each other. And there are kind of three engagement models that I think about. So the first one is this idea that you as the partner wants to outsource everything, right? Michelle mentioned this. You want us to do it for you. You want to be able, you can think about each of these engagement models from a product perspective, from a marketing perspective, from sales or support perspective. And it's really important that you sort of pick and choose how we engage in each sort of opportunity, right? And it doesn't have to be the same way all the time. It can be different for different products or different for different types of organizations within WatchGuard. So this idea of do it for me is really where us as the vendor does everything. You rely on us to do that. The second is this idea of doing it myself, right? You want to do everything, but you want maybe some tools from WatchGuard to help enable you, right? And we want to be able to support you in doing that. And the third is this idea that we do it together, right? Do it with me. And this might be a hybrid model. It might be an area where we provide some resources and you provide others. And this becomes important within the product organization in a lot of different ways, right? You're going to be hearing, and I'm going to talk a little bit about managed services. You'll hear more about it from Scott Williamson as well. But this idea of managed services, it's a really great example of, some of you in the room are MSSPs, right? You're managed service providers. You want to provide that managed service to your customer, and you have all of the resources and tools to do it yourself, right? Others are looking at being able to outsource that and look at ways that the MSP or MSS or an MSP really in that case can say, hey, I need an MDR service that I can resell, and I want you to do it for me, but we have to work together, right, and find that right balance of, you own the customer, you're the face of the customer, and we work together. You can see some other examples here, whether it's from, the way that our sales engagement works, and we go out on a sales call, maybe a marketing program where we want to co-brand something and go to market with it. And so as I'm going through some of these different investments, I want to make sure that you're thinking about how you want to engage with us and which one of these three models makes the most sense. And this allows us to take these three engagement models and then map it to different types of partners, right? Different types of capabilities within our partner community. And the first of those is what we call security providers, right? Sometimes these are security resellers. They offer some basic security services. They typically don't have a security operations center or a network operations center, right? Don't offer 24/7 types of services. Then you move into what we call security managers, right? And these are typically MSPs. They're offering sort of more well-rounded security services. And in a lot of cases, they're providing some prevention and detection services, and have security staff within their organization, right? And so typically in the security provider organizations, we see a lot of IT capabilities on staff. Within the security manager, we'll see more of that security expertise on staff. And then you have your security owners, right? And security owners are typically consider themselves MSSPs. They have a SOC, a 24/7 security operations center that they're running. They have a very broad set of security services, are able to go very deep from a security perspective with their customers. And as you can see, we map these to those engagement models, right? And we'll see a lot of times security providers are more sort of focused on those turnkey solutions, and security owners are really looking for the tools from us so that they can do it themselves, right? Because they have the skills and they have the expertise in-house, and security managers kind of in between. And we honestly, we see this hybrid model sort of where we do it together, kind of spanning across all three of those sort of partner types. So next, I want to take these three things and really look at kind of three of our biggest investments that are going on right now. And I'm lucky because I get to sort of pick and choose from all the different product presentations that you're going to see this week, and really pick what I think are the three most important things, right? The three things that are really going to impact you as a partner over the next year. And so the first one is really around WatchGuard's XDR solution, right? Threat Sync. And right, this has very broad appeal. So no matter how you want to engage with us, no matter what type of partner you are, XDR Threat Sync is a really important part about how you're running your business and how you're interacting and engaging with WatchGuard. I'll go into more detail on that one. The second one we're announcing here at these shows is the WatchGuard MDR service, right? WatchGuard will be providing an MDR service only through the partner community, right? We're building it for you so that, again, especially in those sort of hybrid and turnkey sorts of engagements, that you're able to work with us and provide those managed security, managed detection and response capabilities. Again, you'll be hearing more this week on that one. And the third is what we call Better Together, and Prakash talked about sort of these investments that we're making, that instead of, right, this is what makes the platform a platform. Instead of just having 4 product pillars, right? These products work with each other, and they work better when you use 2 WatchGuard products. And I want to go through some examples of investments that we're making in that area. So XDR, first area that I want to go through. So what is XDR? So I want to start with sort of definition. It's been, we get, like most acronyms, we get to thank Gartner for this acronym as well. And you can see what Gartner's definition of it is here: a vendor-specific threat detection and incident response that unifies multiple security products, right? They specify 3 minimum into a security operations system, right? A lot of words there. So it is, it's a platform offering, right? It's about bringing these things together into a platform for them working and coexisting, and those security services collaborating with each other. They also mentioned vendor specific, right? Which is interesting, and Ricardo will touch on this more. But this idea that when we own both services, there's more that we can do, right? We can do special things when we have both sides of that equation, and we can put those services together. And that's really what XDR is all about, is those special things that we can do on a platform as we bring those together. And so for us, this is what XDR looks like, right? And I think about it in these sort of three buckets. First is around telemetry collection, right? Taking the telemetry from all the security services and bringing that together. The second is all about correlation, right? How do I learn from those security events? How can they collaborate with each other? How can they learn from each other, whether that's leveraging machine learning or workflows, threat scoring, bringing that information together and ultimately detecting an event. And then the third step is all about these idea of response actions, right? So now I've detected something. We want to provide, Michelle talked about how important automation is. We want to provide automation for you and being able to automate those response actions and having the platform bring all of these three things together. And when we think about sort of each of the security services, we really think about how we can continue to invest and evolve and make this platform better. And you'll often hear me talk about refer to XDR as a forever feature, right? We will never be done with XDR. We will continue to invest in it. We're going to continue to innovate in this area, dream up new ideas about how we can bring this together from a network perspective. We can look at things like NetFlow and look at expanding into things like NDR and machine learning and capabilities around that. With Wi-Fi, right? It's a great collection point on the network, but it's also a great place for us to implement response actions by being able to prevent authentications or segmenting users off. Endpoint, right? Endpoint plays a critical role in our XDR solution, both from a telemetry collection as well as a response action perspective. And then authentication. Authentication is one of these areas that really excites me as part of an XDR platform, because it provides not only that rich telemetry about the user, but also those response actions from an authentication perspective and the things that we can do there. And I'll give a couple of examples around that. So why should you care about ThreatSync and XDR? Why is this important? So the first one is it provides better security for your customers, right? The whole idea of this is that, again, you think about these services working together and the sum is greater than the parts, that they can collaborate with each other, they learn from each other, they can react to what each service sees and knows, and ultimately, right, that provides better security, super important. The second is about you and your operations, right? Prakash talked about how important it is from a platform perspective to provide that efficiency, that automation. And that's what XDR is all about. It's what ThreatSync is all about, providing you with that automation around both detection and response capabilities. And the third is it's an opportunity, right? And it's an opportunity for you to drive cross-sell. When you see the power, when you can show your customers the power of these services working together, right? If you're you're a Firebox customer, right? And you're one of your customers is a Firebox only customer. Your ability to show them what you can do when you have endpoint or off-point or Wi-Fi in the same deployment, in the same environment, and leverage ThreatSync, it's a tremendous opportunity to show them that value and to drive cross-sell, incremental revenue within your customer base. So what did we announce? So about 3 or 4 weeks ago, we announced a major release, a major update to ThreatSync. So you'll hear sort of Ricardo tomorrow talk about how we were really the original XDR solution. We called it TDR. We've been in this space for nearly a decade, and we continue to invest in it. This is a major release, major update for us. It brings together, so first of all, it replaces what was the host sensor with endpoint technology, right? So it's the same agent that you deploy with endpoint. So when you upgrade your customers from what we call EDR Core now to EPDR, to the full suite of endpoint solutions, you don't have to redeploy that endpoint. It's the same endpoint technology that's running out there. It brings together, so brought in that endpoint technology. It's completely native in WatchGuard Cloud. So, it started out, for you that have been around for a while, it started out as an independent application, got integrated into WatchGuard Cloud. Now it's been rewritten from the ground up, native in WatchGuard Cloud. So it's tightly integrated into WatchGuard Cloud, and it brings in the Firebox telemetry as well, and brings those together. You're going to hear a lot this week about our plans around continuing to extend that to both Authpoint and Wi-Fi, right? So you're going to see a lot of exciting information about this. So if you're not using this today, if you didn't participate in our beta program, you have not upgraded yet to the latest ThreatSync, you really need to take a look at it, because it's really going to help. It's really going to help you with those demonstrating value to your customer and driving cross-sell. So I want to kind of show you the future of ThreatSync, what it looks like, and I'm going to use Ed here to help me kind of show, what our vision is, where we're taking this idea of ThreatSync, and how it's going to play a part in your security operations in the future. So Ed's a threat analyst, like many of you in this room, right? And he works at an MSP, and he's responsible for watching his customers' environments and seeing what's going on in their environments. And his day is really spent. His day-to-day activities are really spent in 3 areas. So the first of those areas is trying to detect events that are going on within his customer, right? And this is probably the most difficult part of his job. He has to go through kind of endless amounts of logs and telemetry and trying to find that needle in a haystack. And what ThreatSync does, right, and this is part of our first release, which is really focused in this area, is really taking those signals and bringing them together, correlating them, and ultimately alerting Ed to something suspicious going on within one of his environments, within one of his customers. And Ricardo will show you, it gives you this really nice dashboard. So not that you have to look at customer by customer, but as an MSP, right, you can go to one place and see what's going on in all of your customers. So something is detected, it triggers automatically some immediate response actions, right? I need to isolate right away so I can go in and figure out what's going on. It alerts Ed that something is going on, and he goes, okay, I gotta dive into this, right? Now it's time for me to investigate. And investigate is really that second phase, and ThreatSync is designed, and our vision for ThreatSync is all about helping Ed go through that investigation phase, that second phase, guided investigation. And that really takes him through and gives him a set of tools to do this investigation, right? Giving him things like OS query to be able to dig in more on that endpoint, that suspicious endpoint, to be able to look through up to a year's worth of telemetry and be able to kind of go back in time and see what's been going on within the environment, to be able to search for similar behaviors on other computers or other endpoints within that environment, and ultimately allow him to confirm that something bad, that something malicious is going on within the environment, right? And this is where, again, new set of response actions that, okay, we've confirmed something, I need to maybe isolate further, maybe in this case a subnet or a network, and then really allow Ed and his team to go in and further remediate. And that's where this whole guided remediation comes in, right? And this is where we can take him through steps of, okay, here are all the endpoints that are have been compromised. Here's exactly what's happened, And here's a set of actions that you can take to prevent this in the future. And that could be some patching actions, right? It was an unpatched endpoint was the first entry point of whatever this activity was, or maybe it's a set of a deployment of multi-factor authentication that needs to be deployed within an environment, right? But giving him a playbook to be able to go in and really not only clean up the environment, but provide him with that playbook on how to prevent it from happening again in the future, right? And so these three areas are really where we're focused on and how ThreatSync will continue to evolve. So again, depending on the how you want to engage with us, the depth of security capabilities that you have within your organization, you can leverage ThreatSync either as an automated tool to detect and automate those remediation actions, or to assist and help within a more detailed sort of investigation and remediation process. And so, kind of taking this idea of ThreatSync and XDR and then mapping it back to what you heard Michelle talk about before the break, this MSP playbook, you can see how certainly this helps you as an MSP invest in cybersecurity services, really create that breadth of cybersecurity expertise within your environment. Helps you really leverage your install base, right? I talked about how you can use ThreatSync to help drive cross-sell within your customer base, right? So important to be able to show the value of the services that you're providing. Help you with that automation, right? Automation equals profitability for you, and really helping you drive that efficiency and automation within your environment, and then establishing that trust between both you and your customer, as well as you and WatchGuard. Okay, so I want to go into sort of the second main investment that we're going to be talking about this week. So managed detection and response, MDR service, right? And so WatchGuard will be announcing sometime in Q3 a managed detection and response service. So why is WatchGuard getting into the MDR business, right? And so first and foremost, because you in this room have asked for it, right? You've struggled with the ability to provide these services yourself, and you've asked WatchGuard for a service that you can resell out to your customers, right? And we want to help you do that. The second is it helps provide a competitive advantage, right? No matter who you're competing with in the endpoint space, this idea of moving from, EPP being deployed at our customers to more advanced EDR capabilities, now sort of MDR is really the barrier to entry, right? And to win within the endpoint space, you need an MDR service to be able to offer to your customers to differentiate. Adds an additional revenue stream, right? So it's about getting more value, providing more value to your customers, and being able to charge for that within your install base. And then finally, to give you the access to the technology and expertise that we have within WatchGuard, right? We've built world-class SOC and with a set of cybersecurity engineers that will be here to operate this 24/7 to provide you this service. We've licensed the best threat intelligence in the world and tool sets in the world to make this available to you. And so it really allows you to gain access to those tools, technology, and people through WatchGuard. So what are we going to be announcing, right? It is a managed security service, MDR service, to be resold exclusively by the partners, right? We have no intention of ever going directly to a customer. This is all about really providing you with the ability to resell a 24/7, 365, fully manned SOC, providing services around EPDR, right? We're really focused initially on EPDR. We have grand visions of extending that out beyond EPDR, right, to be able to offer managed XDR, and we think that's critical to be able to expand beyond just the endpoint. And you'll hear from Scott about some of our plans to do that. We're really focused on this. This is one of those working together, right? Working with you plays. We're really focused on providing a service where our SOC team will isolate upon detecting any sort of malicious activity. So we'll immediately isolate. We'll work with you to define what that list of endpoints looks like. We'll isolate, but then we'll work with you as the managed service provider, giving you a playbook to be able to go out into your customer base and to be able to resolve and remediate that within their environment. We'll be giving you reports. These are things that you can rebrand and make your own, right? So we will provide them directly to you, and then you pass those on to your customers, both a weekly and a monthly report. Again, Scott will be going into some more details on that. And like I said, we have no intention of going directly to customers, right? This is really about enabling you as the partner and leveraging you as the face of the customer to be able to provide these services. So again, kind of tying this back to that playbook that Michelle talked about. So again, this really helps you expand in the breadth of your cybersecurity offerings to your customers, right? Moving beyond endpoint protection, moving into EDR, being able to provide a managed high-value service in this area. Really being able to embrace these ideas of flexible business models, right? We've really kind of standardized on these 3 business models. You'll hear from Ben Oster about FlexPay and our ability to offer term licenses, points, and subscriptions across our entire portfolio. When you think about managed services, it really falls strongly into that sort of monthly sort of offering. Automation, again, will be providing a lot of these automated responses on your behalf, and then a playbook for you to go in and do that. And this is all about establishing trust between you and your customers, and really leveraging the trust that you have between you and WatchGuard to be able to provide these services. Okay, so the third area that I want to go into is, Prakash mentioned better together, right? And this idea of better together. And so I wanted to go through some of these better together ideas and some of the areas just to give you a taste of where we're investing. And you'll hear, especially if you're in the technical track, you'll hear from the product management team, not just about these, but many others that we are investing behind. So this all kind of is rooted in this idea of the unified security platform, right? The unified security platform for us is about these 5 pillars, right? This idea that there's a single platform to provide comprehensive security, that once you have that single platform, that you have a single pane of glass, right? That single place to go to for not only management, but also for visibility, right? That idea of clarity and control. The idea that once you have those services on a single platform, that you can leverage it for shared knowledge, right? This idea of threat sync and XDR and having all that available in a single platform. And then working with you on our operational alignment, right? Making sure that we're doing everything we can to make you efficient, whether that's working with your RMM and PSA tools, giving you APIs to be able to automate some of these tasks. And then automation, right? And automation plays a role in all 4 of the other pillars, and how we can automate things from a workflow perspective, how we can leverage machine learning and AI to help automate these solutions as well as workflow automation. So, hopefully you've all seen this picture before. This is really what drives our platform strategy. And this is really what it looks like from a platform. The unified security platform from WatchGuard consists of those 5 layers. And this is where the kind of WatchGuard products fit into this vision. So when I talk about better together, I'm really kind of focusing on these first 3 layers, right? How do we leverage WatchGuard Cloud as that single platform, that single pane of glass to provide the security services, the 4 pillars that we have today, and as we expand these pillars, the additional security services that we'll add to the platform, and then this idea of shared knowledge and bringing the services together to provide something special. And so this idea of better together started back in 2020. We really started talking about it with just after the acquisition of Panda Security. And I got to tell you, these ideas, these were the initial 4 better together features that we launched. They all come from you, right? It really is partner to WatchGuard conversations, whether they're happening at these conferences or they're happening between you and your sales engineer, your WatchGuard sales engineer, and working together. But they always start out with a conversation of, hey, wouldn't it be cool if product A and product B did this together? And we love those ideas, right? We love those ideas because, one, we know when they come from you, from the partner community, that they provide value, and that there's true demand for them out in the market. So it's an area that we love to hear about. So the 4 that I want to talk about today, the first one is this idea of kind of EPDR and AuthPoint working together, and working together in a way that provides continuous evaluation of risk, right, and enforcement based on changes in that risk posture. And so I just kind of took a simple example here, right? You have an authentication session, whether it's to some cloud app or maybe a VPN session on a firebox. You're using multi-factor authentication or AuthPoint to authenticate. You've set a risk policy in AuthPoint, right? In this example, it's a time of day policy. I have a contractor who's authenticating, and he can authenticate between 8 and 5. And one of the biggest risks is this idea of persistent connections. And how do I enforce that? So what happens when the policy expires? Well, EPDR will notify WatchGuard Cloud, will notify AuthPoint that there's a persistent session, that the session has expired, and it will be able to enforce that policy and terminate that session, right? So just a really powerful example of how endpoint and AuthPoint can work together to provide more value to your customers. So why is this good for you, right? It eliminates this idea of permission risks, right? Whether that's for your employees, for your contractors, for vendors that you work with that may authenticate into your networks, and it really is intended to eliminate this idea of persistent sessions, right? And we even see this in some cyber insurance regulations, that you need to be able to control and prove that when different endpoints and remote sessions are established, and it also helps with things like phishing attempts after hours, right? If you set a policy that's for 9 to 5, and then you do have some sort of phishing episode within your environment after hours, it could help prevent that. And again, it really helps you as the partner demonstrate the value of the unified security platform as you bring these features together. And so why is this good for your customers? Well, obviously it increases security, and it helps them really show compliance within their environment. So the second Better Together feature that I want to go through is EPDR and Wi-Fi. So some of you are familiar with another feature that we have with VPN and EPDR, right? Ensuring that EPDR is running and properly configured before you allow a VPN connection. So now we're extending that to Wi-Fi. So again, very simply, EPDR is installed and properly configured. I'm going to allow access onto my network, right? There's no EPDR there. I'm going to block and prevent that connection onto my wireless network. Again, so super important when we think about it from a security perspective, right? And really the hygiene within the networks and preventing unknown devices or unprotected devices from connecting. This idea of sort of expanding a concept that we do with VPN and doing the same thing with Wi-Fi, right? It's a great example of how we can leverage the platform in a way that provides efficiency to you as the managed service provider. And then obviously it helps you demonstrate the power of the platform and help with that cross-sell motion between whether it's network and endpoint or Wi-Fi and endpoint. Provides increased security again for your customers because the only known assets, right, only protected assets can connect to their networks. And this again is a really important compliance driver. Again, we're starting to see, especially in North America and Europe, cybersecurity really becoming a big driver into what services are deployed and what policies are required on a network. And this idea that endpoint security must be deployed, and you have to be able to prove that it's deployed before you allow connections onto your network. This will help you not only implement it, but prove that it is that it's implemented on your customers' networks. So the third one is EPDR and WatchGuard Cloud, right? So we have a new version of EPDR that I think releases next week, June 1st, I believe. And there's a really, really cool new feature in this, and it's a dashboard. It's basically a vulnerability assessment dashboard that is included with EPDR. Right? It's no additional charge. If you deploy EPDR with your customers, you're going to get this, and it's going to give you an inventory of all the computers on your network and what the patch status, what the vulnerability assessment is of every one of those endpoints, right? And so it gives you this great tool. So why is this good for you? Well, it really helps you first just identify unpatched systems on your customer's network. And more importantly, it provides you the opportunity to upsell to those customers additional services, whether that's around you going out and patching those systems, or for you to cross-sell and upsell to WatchGuard's patch management system. Right? It gives you great opportunities for cross-sell. And for your customers, again, increased security. And again, on the compliance side, cyber insurance and other places, we're seeing vulnerability assessment and patch management as really strong requirements within cyber insurers. And again, this helps you both prove on kind of both sides of those capabilities, of those requirements. So the fourth one that I want to talk about here is Firebox in WatchGuard Cloud, right? All of these things that I talked about today are only available to you if you're on WatchGuard Cloud. And so how can we help you move to WatchGuard Cloud? What can we do? What kind of features can we provide to help you make that migration of your Firebox environments easier to WatchGuard Cloud? So we started rolling out a set of tools that'll help you do this. It started with imports of aliases and exceptions, and we're continuing to invest in tools to help you make that move. You'll hear from Brendan, again, in the tech track on some of these additional capabilities that will help you do that. So it really will be less effort for you to get to WatchGuard Cloud, right? We want you on WatchGuard Cloud because we want you to have access to all these features, right? We want you to have access to to threat sync and all of these better together features. We want you to have that efficient operations that you need within your environment. And again, it's great for your customers. It gives them, access to these really easy firmware update capabilities that we push from WatchGuard Cloud. Gives them access to XDR and threat sync, and it really allows them to respond more quickly, or to you to respond more quickly on their behalf to threats within their environment. So when we think about this idea better together, and what Michelle talked about in the MSP playbook, right? This is all about leveraging your install base, right? This idea better together is really to help you show the value of providing additional WatchGuard services. Prakash talked about inspiring every partner to become a multi-product line partner, right? This is the way to help you do that. Automation, right? I talked a lot about how these services help you make you more efficient and automated, and build that trust between you and your customers. So when we look at these investments, right, the three investments that I talked about with ThreatSync and XDR, WatchGuard's Managed Detection and Response MDR service that we'll be offering later this year, and better together, you can really see how the product portfolio helps map to all those things in that MSP playbook that Michelle talked about, and then you'll be hearing more on these other areas from Michelle and Tracy as the week goes on. Okay, I hope you're excited about the future of the platform. As excited as I am. I have the distinct pleasure of introducing kind of our final keynote speakers of the evening. So you know them from the 443 and from our quarterly security report. The famous Mark Liliberday and his sidekick, Corey Knockreiner.